You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Ken. I'm back in the studio with Jeff and Neil. Boys, how you doing?
Great. Doing well.
And over the internet, as usual, the pilot of Taylor Swift's private jet, Matt. Thanks for the
You don't
emissions.
believe how fast that thing goes. I was able to land. We weren't tracked. It was a smooth landing.
Thank you for all the emissions. We appreciate it.
Well, how else are you going to get one state over?
Well, we're very happy, Matt, that you were able to bring Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that game goes today. I think the Detroit Lions are going to pull it out. Matt, what do you think?
You mean last month?
Yeah.
Last month. Yeah.
My money's on the Ravens.
Yeah. Speaking of some pretty exciting contenders like the Chiefs and the 49ers, we have some great guests with us today. First, we'd like to welcome back our host for today. He's hosted on an episode before with his trusty Humphrey Bogart stand-up behind him, which we really appreciate. Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon from Dallas, Texas, Nathan Charnock. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing great. Just happy to be here again. And it's nice and rainy and dreary outside, so this is something fun.
And we know you were performing music last night and battling, with your throat from all the singing. So we appreciate your tough attitude getting through this recording today.
Oh, it's good to be here, and I am tan rested and ready.
Nice.
Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate you bringing the rain too. It gives it a nice film noir vibe for today, and we thank you for wearing a fedora to the proceedings. But not wearing a fedora, wearing a baseball cap here is a guest we're excited to have on, always present on the Discord, which we appreciate, always interacting with all of our other listeners. Another Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon, coming to us from Virginia Beach, DJ Carlile. How are you, DJ?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a father of 5. I run a vending route at a shipyard down here. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and you guys are way up there. I think I was in the 0.1% of your listeners for the year last year, and I just started in September.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Thanks for catching.
Wow. 0.1% of listeners, 100% in our hearts. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to be playing today, DJ, and I think you're going to be partnering with Matt, but Ken and Jeff are going to be partnering together, and you came up with the team name first. So what is your team name today?
So we had some classic Chicago bone and beef for lunch today, and Jeff likes his nice and soggy, so we're going to be wet beef.
Wet beef sounds just like something Jeff would like. And DJ,
they call it dipped.
The old dipped.
Yeah, they're the soggy beef boys over there.
And DJ, what's your team name?
We're going to go with the dry pork, just to balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, the age-old question. Do you want it dry or do you want it wet? So this is what it's going to be decided today. So
is that the age-old
I think it
question?
is. That's what's etched on the stones.
The dawn of man.
That's the first thing written on the caves by the cavemen is dry or wet. But it's going to be these two teams together. And if anyone knows anything about audio, when you have certain filters on the audio, you can have a wet or a dry. So we're going to have Darren decide for us.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream will rise at the top. Oh, yeah.
And with that, we have the rules for the game, so I think we're ready to rock. Nathan?
All right, let's get this started. So this is not really themed, but as you may notice as we go through this, all of the categories have something in common. This is mostly just a way for me to focus on writing the game. It just kind of helped it all come together. So we'll get started off with round 1, question 1, and it's Boxcar Racer. My dad once gave me a signed photograph of Bob Beyoncer, who is a famous race car driver from a famous race car driving family. And I think my granddad once said that he was a distant cousin of mine. And he set a world record at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. What kind of world records is Bonneville most closely associated with?
All right, we are locked in.
All right. So, DJ, what kind of records are we setting out in the
well, I'm thinking it's the
Flats?
land speed record, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think that's where they do like those funny cars with the parachutes on them.
I've seen
or
them
whatever.
in the desert doing those. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
They're doing something out there. Land speed record sounds good. I think we're okay to lock that in.
And we agree with you. That's the land speed record.
That is correct. That is where they take cars. They do rocket powered cars and traditional motor for the records, and they go very, very fast.
Nice.
Because there's nothing there to hit. Because I'm pretty sure hitting anything in a car that's going 500 miles an hour is probably bad.
It's not going to be great. That's for sure.
It's going to ruin your day.
Not like the Chicago potholes. That would be bad, probably, at 500 miles an hour.
And this is the record.
Actually, the faster you go over the hold on. Nobody take my word for this. Don't sue me. I think the faster you go over the pothole, the less damage will be done, right?
No, that's true.
That's the triviality guarantee.
There's a formula. It's proportional to the speed and the size of the pothole.
All right, there you go. It's mathematical.
Size of your tires. It's a whole thing.
All right, so the second question on here, it's Motion City soundtrack. And The Indian Runner is a Springsteen song that was turned into a movie. And Blinded by the Light is a movie set to songs by The Boss. However, this film that I love has themes of fast cars, tough guys, and danger, just like a Springsteen song. But this 1984 Walter Hill film has nothing to do with the song from Darkness on the Edge of Town that it shares a title with. What movie or song am I talking about?
Does that sound about right?
Yeah. If you're telling me that's an early 80s film, I buy it.
Let's see what Neil thinks.
That's correct.
Great.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, if he said it was incorrect, we still wouldn't change our answer.
Correct.
But...
Yeah.
No, I'm going to. This is what I have written down. So in case is that correct?
He's got
blank
nothing.
line
It's the same
paper.
thing.
Let the record show that he has written nothing.
I'm assuming this takes place in Detroit.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe.
the category was Rock City.
It was Motion City soundtrack.
Motion City. Oh, okay, maybe.
Which is just the name of a band, but they're from Minnesota. That doesn't help though.
Never mind.
1984, Cars and Tough Guys. I can't think of any movie. It was a year before I was born, so I wasn't seeing this
I was
in the
7,
cinema.
so I wasn't watching it either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge that Neil does, so
I answered the question.
why
do I get 0 credit once again?
This is more Ken erasure.
But you did ask me if it was correct. Though.
Darkness on the outskirts of town. You want to just say the wrong side of the tracks or something?
Wrong side of the tracks.
There you go. That sounds like a Springsteen song. We're going with Streets on Fire. I think Willem Dafoe, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
It's and Amy. Does it have Amy Madigan in it and Rick Moranis?
Yep. Diane Lane.
Rick Moranis.
Wow.
Bill Paxton. Isn't Bill Paxton have a small role in that too? I think.
Bill Paxton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Defoe, like you said. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Great cast. But Streets of Fire.
Funny thing about Streets of Fire, I'm sure you love this, Nathan, is the actual movie, there is no opening credits. You just hear Springsteen go, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, there it is. We were waiting for
and just all the random saxophone solos. It can be a little off-putting, but you get used to it.
That was the 1980s. Random saxophone solos could be off-putting. That's the whole decade.
Yep.
So moving on to question 3, Mayday Parade. The Haymarket Affair was a civil disturbance that followed a labor union rally that ended with someone throwing a bomb at the police. Police subsequently shot into the crowd, with members of the crowd then returning fire. The incident was a major event in the history of labor and part of the foundation of International Workers' Day. In what city did this incident occur?
That was my gut. Yeah.
Hey, we're locked in.
So I don't know offhand. I know a lot of the initial labor things happened in Chicago. So that was my first guess. Did you have any thoughts?
That's the first thing that came to my mind for no reason at all other than it sounded right.
Yeah, they had some of the earliest and biggest unions when it came to labor.
It has to be one of the big cities.
Yeah.
I would think so. And
So-
I don't think it's New York. So Chicago's the next.
Okay.
next best
Then we're
guess.
gonna go Chicago.
We said Sweet Home Chicago.
That's exactly right. Haymarket Square, still, you can go visit it and be like, wow, people throw bombs at cops here.
That's a lot of places in Chicago.
Bad. We have a bad enough reputation, unfounded anyways.
Anyway, so moving on, question 4 is the starting line. The Pan American Highway is a route that's both official and unofficial, depending on the country it's running through, that starts in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, which is north of the Arctic Circle. With the exception of a break at the Darien Gap, the highway continues south to the southernmost reaches of Argentina, connecting countries all over North, South, and Central America. Within 2, how many countries does the Pan American Highway traverse? And note that this does not include spurs to other countries east or west of the route. It's straight line top to bottom.
All right, they're locked in. So we talked out loud that there's at least 4, U.S., Canada, Mexico, Argentina.
Right.
And I guess the big question is, does it go inland at all in South America, or is it just straight down the coast? Because if it's straight down,
Central America is where I'd be worried about
yeah,
that.
because you got Panama, obviously, and then it's probably going to go through Guatemala, I think. I don't know. You have any? What's your initial thought?
My initial thought was to add another 4 to the original 4. That gives you.
I was around 9 or 10, so I think
We'll go 9.
10. Well, 10 gets us between 8 and 12, which I think.
Okay.
I don't think it's less than 8.
Okay, that's good then.
Okay.
I was
I think
thinking
we're
8.
gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll set that as the bottom. Then we're gonna go with 10.
And we're going with 12.
All right, so one team is going to get this. It's actually 14.
Barely.
There's a lot of little countries in Central America that's where the numbers get boosted. Because it goes through the United States, Canada, back to the United States, then Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And there's the break at the Darien Gap. And it's Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, and Argentina. All right, so moving on to question 5 is the Wonder Years. Television families find their happy little television homes in many places, from real cities like San Francisco and Milwaukee to fictional locales such as Arlen, Texas, and Quahog, Rhode Island. On that subject, what is a quahog? And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we're locked in.
Oh.
I think it's a clam.
Yeah, I was gonna say being Virginia Beach bound. I think you're familiar with these. These are big on the East Coast.
It's either a clam or a fish. But
and I think that the name of the bar is the something
bearded
clam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're good locking with clam.
Yep, we agree that it's clam.
It is a clam. They are apparently delicious. I've eaten a lot of clams. I don't know if any of them were quahogs.
All right, after 5 questions, looks like wet is just a little ahead of the dry. We have 50 points, and dry pork has 30. It's anybody's game, as we like to say.
Wow, right after the first 5, it's still anybody's game, huh? We didn't wrap it up already, Ken?
You know what? I won't say it's anybody's game, but I will say anybody can win.
You're pitching a perfect game, though.
If it were 50-0, you'd be like, don't listen to the rest of this one.
All right, so moving on to question 6, something corporate. Many storied corporations are no longer around as a recognizable entity, even though they still exist in some form. Examples include the pioneering 5 and dime chain Woolworths, which lives on as Foot Locker, and Pan Am Airlines, which became Pan Am the Railroad and is now known as 747 Merger Sub 2, which is being folded into CSX. It's mergers get complicated. So now part of T-Mobile, Sprint traces its history back to the Brown Telephone Company and this railroad. As a hint, Sprint is an acronym.
I got nothing.
Nor do I. So I think we're going to go with the Johnson Railroad Company.
All right. I think so he says Sprint is an acronym. So I'm thinking Southern Pacific. I mean, there's Norfolk Southern as a railroad.
Yeah, and I think everything after R is essentially like railroad something incorporated.
International
blah, blah, blah.
something transit or transportation.
Yeah. So if we're looking at just the SP, South Pacific or Southern Pacific.
That's the only thing I can come up with. It's a wild guess, but
it sounds like a great guess. Like I said, we just said Johnson Railroad Company.
And it was a great guess. It is the Sprint was technically a backronym, but it was the Southern Pacific Railroad Internal Networking Telephony. All right, so moving on to question 7, the Academy is. For every season and every tournament in association football, the player that scores the most goals is given an award. In English leagues and FIFA tournaments, this is known as the Golden Boot. What is the equivalent award for goalkeepers called?
I was hoping the answer was Golden Boot.
I think we are locked in on this one. Yeah?
That's definitely in a different sport, but as well, if possibly as well.
All right. Well.
Yeah, I'm not great in soccer, but maybe Golden Mitt?
So I think that this is something you'd be familiar with as a Braves fan. They win a lot of these. It seems like Golden Gloves. I think I'm good with Golden Glove.
Golden Glove sounds good. Yep.
We too said Golden Glove.
Yep, Golden Glove is correct. It crosses multiple sports, including boxing. But yes, the Golden Glove Award. All right, so then moving on to question 8, category is We the Kings. The Central European Defense Cooperation is a military collaboration consisting of Austria, Croatia, Czechia, Hungary, Slovakia, and Slovenia. It is a relatively new group, having formed in 2010. However, the geographic outlines of the alliance trace back to the 13th century, forming a political unit that continued up to the early 20th century. I'll take either the name of either the monarchy or the name of the empire at the time of its demise.
So this is like a kingdom or monarchy that lasted essentially into the 1800s. I think he said 19th century. So
20th century.
20th century. So early 19. This isn't.
It's not
Ottoman.
the Ottoman. I don't think that's more southern.
Yeah, and I have no other thoughts. That was the only thing I could think of.
I will know it when it's said, but I can't pull it out of my brain. It's
yeah. And Jeff just had it right away.
It's not the Kurds. I don't know. Yeah.
No. So it's not the Ottoman. So we'll go with the chaise lounge chair empire.
It's my favorite empire.
Just because I had it right away doesn't mean it's correct. But our guess is the not holy, not Roman, barely an empire. The Holy Roman Empire.
So close, but Holy Roman Empire was most of modern Germany. So this would be the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Okay.
Which was the Habsburg monarchy.
The Habsburgs.
Yes.
Of course.
Sorry, I know it hurt me too, but
I was wrong. I didn't know it after it was said.
All right, so moving on to question 9, Green Day. April 20th is a day well known by people who are into jam bands and other suspect activities. It is also the birth date of a number of well-known people, including this actor who is one Grammy short of an EGOT.
Well, we all were like, oh.
Winning Oscars for Best Supporting Actress for Tootsie, Best Actress for Blue Sky, Emmys for Grey Gardens, American Horror Story, and a Tony for Long Day's Journey into Night. What is the name of this actor?
We're going to go ahead and lock in with a guess. Not sure. Our initial impulse was probably too young, and we're going with another guess.
So I could only really come at this from the American Horror Story angle.
Same.
So we're looking at like Jessica Lange, Kathy Bates.
I would think Jessica Lange. I was trying to think of her name. I was like the matriarch from the first season. I think that's it.
You think that's it?
The name, I mean, that holds sway. I don't think Kathy Bates was in Tootsie.
Connie Britton's too young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's go Jessica Lange.
Okay. Yeah.
We weren't sure, like I said, so we said Ellen Bernson.
It is Jessica Lange.
Good job, guys. Nicely
That
done.
was a good pull.
I wasn't going to pull that name.
Yeah.
I knew the
Anything
face,
after like
but
season 3 or 4 of American Horror Story, I'm kind of out on. But I was super into the first few seasons.
yeah, same. Yeah.
She's great in Cape Fear, which is a great Scorsese movie.
Isn't that the scariest phone ring ever in that movie?
Oh yeah, right. Come out wherever you are.
Neil often wakes me up with that phone call.
Yeah, and that's what my back looks like when he's working out in jail. All the tattoos. That's what my back really looks like.
Oh, good to know.
Maybe.
Hey, who's to say?
Allegedly.
But when the calendar comes out next year, we'll all find out.
Yeah, right.
There's gonna be a big sticker over it. Be like, oh man.
It's just gonna be me naked with Ken Jennings' trivia book across my crotch.
All right, so this is the last question of the first round. Number 10, Taking Back Sunday.
These are pop punk bands, by the way, Matt.
In case you're curious.
Thank you. I was really lost.
Yeah, make damn sure you know that, Matt. Okay.
And this is an actual pop punk question. One of the defining features of Taking Back Sunday's sound has been two vocalists singing over and around each other like they're performing in Les Mis. Having rotated through second vocalists several times, the band is back to original member John Nolan. In between stints with Taking Back Sunday, he fronted a different band with his sister Michelle, probably best known for their song Existentialism on Prom Night. What band is this, who are great and really should reunite and tour?
We can lock in.
Do you know this one, Jeff?
No.
Flyleaf.
Flyleaf's a little more metal. These guys were really soft, a lot of piano. It's Stray Light Run.
It is Stray Light Run. Apparently, I don't know if he's still the current bassist or not. I've never met the guy, but apparently at one point the bassist for Flyleaf is a cousin of mine.
Oh. Well, on that note, we have our scores for the first round. It looks like Dry Pork has come roaring back, even though it's still anybody's game. But they have 70 points. Wet Beef with 60 points. Anybody can still win this one. Really, it's anybody's game, as they say. So,
well, Ken, I'm gonna stop over to get a cup of coffee really quick. Can you lend me a $5 bill?
No.
Okay. But
however,
for $5,
I could just use my credit card.
That's right.
Go to patreon.com, put in the information, and get tons of bonus episodes.
Right,
from Triviality.
Over 50 hours of bonus content plus weekly bonuses.
You just put it on, and 2 days later, it'll still be running.
That's right. And folks like DJ and Nathan, they're still listening to all the audio content that's on there, plus the weekly bonuses, which are really, really fun. And starting at $1 a month, you can get all of our episodes ad-free, and we listen to everyone who wrote in. We changed the way we record a little bit, so now you're not even going to get Patreon ads.
This very Patreon ad will be cut.
Right, so people on Patreon will not even hear. So Nathan and DJ aren't even going to hear this ever again.
They wouldn't know if they weren't here in the room.
That's right. So if you want to go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast, help out the show. We're going to be doing some upgrades to our video and a couple other things, and we've already got some new XLR cables, all thanks to our patrons. So,
and by upgrades, we mean we're going to try video.
We're going to try video, but we're getting nicer XLR cables because right now all of our XLR cables I think are like 4 feet long. We can't move the microphones that far. But we're going to get, I think we have 15 or 16 foot XLR cables.
We're really going to spread out.
Splurging. That's like a $30 upgrade, people.
But yeah, thanks to all of our patrons. So if you'd like to join them, go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast, and we hope to see you there.
And now on to swing round. Nathan, what do you have in store for us?
All right, so I did not record a music swing round this time. It's a lot of work.
Don't worry about it, Nathan. That's not like the standard. That's way beyond the standard.
You can join the 99.9% of people who do not record a music swing round.
A bespoke, yes, custom,
But I did stick with the music themed swing round. So what this is there's been a lot of artists who have had some success or even great success with former bands, but went on to achieve their greatest success as a solo act. So for this swing round, Yeah. There's actually a Paul McCartney question coming up soon, so we'll get to that in the second round. But for now, I'm just going to give you the name of a solo artist, and I am looking for the name of their former bands.
Okay.
So first one is Kenny Rogers, Janis Joplin, Bjork, Omarion, Chaka Khan, Billy Idol, Peter Gabriel, Gloria Estefan, Van Morrison, and Dr. Dre. And for Dr. Dre, there are two answers that I will accept, and if you get both, you can take double points on it.
Okay. So those are the questions for the swing round, and we'll be right back with our answers.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
And all the answers are now locked in. Let's go ahead and get the questions one more time.
All right, so there are a lot of artists who have had some success with former bands but achieved their greatest success as solo acts. And so this is looking at giving the names of the artists and trying to name the bands that they used to be in. So the first one was Kenny Rogers.
We said the Roasters.
We also kicked around Kenny Rogers Roasters. We had no idea. We ended up going with CCR, knowing it's 100% wrong.
So he was in a psychedelic rock band called The First Edition.
Never would have gotten that.
All right,
New Edition.
Yeah, they were a sequel to First Edition.
Yeah, and
Bobby Brown, big Kenny Rogers fan.
And then he started doing duets with Dolly Parton, and it was off to the races. All right, so what about Janis Joplin?
We just thought that the singer in Jefferson Airplane sounds like Janis Joplin, so we said Jefferson Airplane.
We thought she might have been one of the mamas in the papas, so we said mamas and papas.
The answer for this one was Big Brother and the Holding Company. So that song, Piece of My Heart, is actually not a Janis Joplin cut. That's Big Brother and the Holding Company cut. All right, what about for Bjork? What did we get for that?
I believe that's the Sugar Cubes.
Oh, we said the stinky Icelandic fish.
Slightly more delicious. It is the Sugar Cubes. All right. Omarion.
The boy band that sounds like a serial killer, we said B2K.
Yes. We also came up with B2K.
And that is correct. All right. Did anyone come up with anything for Chaka Khan?
Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, we just said the Funkadelics.
And there's a lot of discussion between DJ and Matt about the funk band that she used to be a part of, and it was a funk band called Rufus. Had a couple of hits. All right, and Billy Idol.
This one was on the tip of our tongue, but we couldn't come up with it, so we just said the Butthole Surfers.
We went with the Sex Pistols.
Wow. From Dallas, Texas, it is not the Butthole Surfers. It was Generation X.
I always mix up Butthole Surfers and Crash Test Dummies, which is the one that went.
Crash Test Dummies.
Okay, I always mix those two up. And then Butthole Surfers were they the ones that had the
I
album
don't
cover?
mind sometimes.
Was that the album cover with the ear and the pencil?
That I don't know.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. Okay, so I always mix them up. Okay.
And I think the song "Dancing with Myself" was a Generation X cut before Billy Idol went solo. All right, what about for Peter Gabriel?
We said Genesis.
As did we, Genesis.
That is correct. In fact, for this one, they both went on to their greatest success after Peter Gabriel left. The Genesis did not have a number one album until Phil Collins took over the vocal duties. And then, of course, Peter Gabriel had a wonderful solo career. And Gloria Estefan.
We said Miami Sound Machine.
And that is exactly what we said, Miami Sound Machine.
That is correct. All right, moving on. What about Van Morrison?
We think Van Morrison was in John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
We had no idea, so we said the Brown Eyed Men.
So he was in a band called Them. The song Gloria, that most people think is a Van Morrison song, was actually a Them cut. All right, and for the last one, Dr. Dre.
We said NWA, and the other one we don't know.
Yeah, we said NWA also. We don't know the second.
So NWA is correct. The other one was an electro-funk act that also featured DJ Yella, who went on to join Dr. Dre and NWA. They're called the World Class Wrecking Crew.
I'm sure Jeff would agree the best use of Gloria Estefan was in Parks and Rec when they were going across the ice rink. That's so good. It's like one of the best scenes ever.
Get on your feet.
All right, making up a little bit of ground is Wet Beef, catching up to Dried Pork just a little bit. It's 85 to 90 currently. So
I think it's even more anyone's game.
It's even more anybody's game now. Yeah.
Now, Ken, remind me, Wet Beef was also the name of our feud when we were high school water polo players, correct?
Correct.
All right, so the first question in round 2 is Swing Swing. Why do we like him? He gets on base. Getting on base is the building block of successful baseball offense, and keeping players from getting on base is the metric that we judge pitchers by. However, the pitcher who I think is the greatest of all time never accomplished the feat of pitching a perfect game. 7 no-hitters, no perfect game. Which pitcher is this?
It can be two things.
It's a pitcher and a fish, so we're going to go with it. We're locked in.
Okay.
We did not go with James Carp.
Did he say he was a Rangers fan?
Yeah, and I think that he had 7 no-hitters and 1 knockout of Robin Ventura. I'm pretty sure this is Nolan Ryan,
Yeah, I
right?
was thinking Nolan Ryan, right.
Yeah.
I know Greg Maddux, I don't think he ever had a perfect game either.
No, but I don't know if he had 7 no-hitters. I'm pretty sure Nolan did.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go Nolan Ryan.
Well, that sounds more informed than our answer of Trout.
So, yes, it was the only person to ever pitch 7 no-hitters, but he never managed to get a perfect game. It is Nolan Ryan. All right, so question 2 is Sick Transit Gloria. Founded in Long Grove, Illinois, this coffee shop has U.S. locations mostly in the Chicago area, Midwest, and on the East Coast. Although their footprint has shrunk in recent years, they are a major coffee chain in Australia, currently the 6th most by locations. A similarity between the U.S. and Australian locations is their propensity to be located in shopping malls and have way too much sugar in their drinks. What smaller coffee conglomerate am I referring to?
Yeah, we could be locked in.
I think based on the merit of the category, I think he's a Gloria in there somewhere. I think there is a chain called Gloria's, and they're often in malls.
Could be. Yeah.
Is that what you're locking in with Gloria's?
Yes.
I think you needed to think about Gloria's pants because I believe it's Gloria Jeans is the place.
It is Gloria Jeans Coffee. It is, you can find them in malls all up and down Australia, and I guess I saw a couple when I lived out east, but not as popular as they were overseas.
Yeah, they were in all the malls until all the malls closed or failed, and then they all shut down. But they were in like every mall in Chicago area.
All right, so number 3 is a praise chorus. Every Beatle had popular solo success after the band's breakup. Both Paul McCartney and John Lennon released albums shortly after the band imploded, and though these albums were very successful, no single by an ex-Beatle hit number 1 in Britain or in the US until this track by George Harrison, which was released in 1971 from the album All Things Must Pass.
All right, Jeff says he'll buy that for $1, and we're going to lock in with our answer.
Well, I thought it was got my mind set on you until the year came out, so I actually have no clue at this point.
I was hoping that the question was just going to be which Beatle was the first to have a number 1 hit, because I did know it was George Harrison, but I did not know any further information as to what that song is or what it sounds like. And I couldn't name you one George Harrison song. So
you know that one. Got my mind set on
yeah.
you. But that was like 87, 84 maybe.
That's one of the most 80s songs I've ever heard in my life. That's okay. The one that you said, the one that he sang, that's what we're
Got
locked
my
in.
mind set on you. Yeah, that's what we'll say.
All right. Well, the name of the album was pretty positive, and I think this is a pretty positive song, and we're going to say Here Comes the Sun.
So Here Comes the Sun was a George Harrison track off of Abbey Road, I think.
Okay.
This song is My Sweet Lord.
Hallelujah.
Yep. The big Hare Krishna song. That was the first single by a Beatle, by an ex-Beatle to go number one. And all right, so moving on to question 4. I woke up in a car. If you were to drive the longest border between any two U.S. states at an average highway speed, it would take at least 10 hours to go across it. The lengths of this border are specified in court cases and agreements, but because part of the border is a river, I found a lot of different guesses as to what the exact measurement was. They're all pretty close, though. So what two states are these that share the longest border? And I'll give you 5 points for each correct state.
So they're locked in. What really kind of threw me off was that there was a river involved, and that really threw me off. So now I'm not sure. I was thinking something with California first, but
California, Nevada was my thought. Right?
Yeah.
It comes down and it.
Right. I think.
Is it Texas, Oklahoma?
Oh, yeah, because then the river would be the Red River, right?
And then
goes,
you got the little panhandle over.
Yeah. I like that. Let's go Texas and Oklahoma.
We said the same thing.
Yeah, Nathan's not far from that border, so hopefully that's the right answer.
And that is correct, because you've got the Oklahoma Panhandle up on top, has to go all the way down the Texas Panhandle, and then all the way across the river to Louisiana and Arkansas. It is very long. So, yep, Texas and Oklahoma. All right, so the next one is So Long Astoria. Astoria, Queens. It's a pretty cool neighborhood. There's a lot of great Greek food, has the oldest beer hall in the city, and is the burial place of the father of ragtime, Scott Joplin. It's also the location of the American factory for a famed piano manufacturer founded in 1853 that has a near lock on the high-end piano market. What is this company?
Not too far from this location is like one of the coolest museums, the Museum of the Moving Image, all about film history and cinema and everything. They have monthly exhibits, very cool ones. So,
looks like Jeff has a line on piano, so we're locking in.
All right, so we threw around a lot of piano names, and we worked our way to Steinman, and it might not be right. It might be close, but that's what we're locking in with.
I think you had to take your thinking just a little ways further.
Boo. You're close.
Yeah, we said Steinway and Sons. Steinway.
Oh.
It was founded by Heinrich Steinweg, who changed his name to Henry Steinway. It's Steinway.
Extending their lead slightly is Dry Pork. They have 120 points, and Wet Beef sagging behind at 105.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Dry Pork.
You got to firm it up a little bit than this last half of the round.
Sorry.
I regret these names. let's be done with it. Let's keep going.
I'm sorry.
That's what we're here for, to make you regret things. All right, so question 6 is, this ain't a scene, it's an arms race. The arms race between the Soviet Union and the United States in many ways defined the Cold War. The space race was a direct consequence of the tension and competition between the two countries, and throughout the Cold War we got some crossover episodes. Examples include a plan to nuke the moon, and the moon probably had it coming. And there was also the Strategic Defense Initiative. SDI was a program started under Reagan, the goal of which was to make long-range ballistic missiles useless through various means, including space-based systems, which earned SDI this pop culture moniker.
We're locked in.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, right?
That seems 100% correct.
And we also said Star Wars.
It is Star Wars. They wanted to figure out ways to use lasers from space to shoot down missiles.
No, I am your Gipper.
That one was good. I'll give credit to Neil for that one. He does too many Reagan impersonations, and they vary in quality, but that one was tops.
Thank you.
Was talking to my wife the other day for some reason about Notre Dame football and the Gipper, and yeah, I should really just try and keep these things to myself instead of annoying my wife.
If you want to have a really good Friday night with your wife, watch Bedtime for Bonzo with Ronald Reagan, with him and a monkey.
And if you want to have a really, really good time with your wife, order some wet beefs. Pop in Bedtime for Bonzo.
That's the new Netflix and chill. Wet beefs and Bonzo.
Get your dry pork rub.
It's an untapped market, Matt. You just go to all the adult
untapped market.
Untapped market. all of the
just dipped into Goodwill Hunting.
I did, yeah. Go to go to the adult shops, and instead of the massage oils and stuff, you get the old dry rub for you and your partner. Cool Ranch dry rub.
This Spencer's Gifts. That's where they sell that.
Yeah, right next to
the brilliant.
Edible underwear.
Next to the old FBI shirt, the Federal Breast Inspector shirt.
Yeah, this will make zeros of dollars. I can't wait to see it. All right, so for question number 7, there is a fountain filled with blood. Is that an old gospel tune or is it a death metal headbanger? Not really sure. A natural phenomenon called red tide can make the ocean look like blood, and the aftermath contributes to dead zones where the ocean is deprived of oxygen. In the Gulf of Mexico, this is caused by algae blooms, which are fueled by an overabundance of this element. It's a common ingredient in fertilizer.
We can lock in.
I think it's ammonia.
I was going to say that, so that sounds right to me. We can lock in.
And we said nitrogen. It is question 7 and element 7.
Your friendly neighborhood nitrogen.
And yes, it's the other half of ammonium nitrate. It is nitrogen.
Ah.
All right. So question 8 is anthem. There are a lot of very odd national anthems out there. Ours is impossible to sing. Others belittle neighbors or former colonial powers. And some are just wildly militaristic and downright bloodthirsty. In fact, the national anthems of both France and Italy are both militantly against a third European nation, although this nation only borders one of those two. Which nation is this that got France and Italy all up in arms?
So I was thinking that the French national anthem was written around the time of the Franco-Prussian War, and I think Prussian and like Austrian.
When do you know when the anthem was written? How could you possibly know that?
How can he possibly know many of the things he knows, Ken? He knows them.
Sometimes you know things. That would put 18, I don't know. But anyway, Prussians, Austrians, I think it might be Austria.
Look, geography is my weakest subject, so
I'm
down with that.
There's just very few countries that I know in Europe, and that's one of them. So
I'm down with it. Austria? Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We said the national anthems besmirch España.
So it is going back to the Habsburgs. It is Austria. The fifth verse of the Italian national anthem declares that, more or less, says that Austria is the eternal enemy of Italy. And
didn't know that.
The French national anthem was written to exhort French people to go kill Austrians. All right, so moving on to question 9, Anthem Part 2, or Anthem of Our Dying Day. Eschatology is a part of many world religions, and though there are many varying approaches to it among the world's faiths, there are also a lot of striking similarities. There is also secular eschatology in literature, both fiction and nonfiction, music, and in film. What is eschatology?
So eschatology, he said, is in religion. It's in other fields
it's
too.
Secular too, so like that's everything.
Yeah, I guess maybe like superstitions or rituals, study of rituals.
Ritual sounds good. Yeah,
because that could be something that's not just religious. So Yeah, we'll say the study of rituals.
You think Michael Stipe is an eschatologist, right?
I do think so. We think this has to do with the end of the world.
Oh.
It does. The end of the world, or in some religions, the ending of this world and a beginning of a new one that is either going to be the exact same or completely different. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff in there.
I'm a bit of an eschatologist myself.
Armageddon, end times, lots and lots of movies and books deal with this. How the world will end. Is it going to be a population bomb, an actual bomb? Who knows? All right, so the last question in the second round is Girl All the Bad Guys Want. You all knew this was
by
coming.
some no-name band.
Yeah. Who I just saw at the State Fair last year. They were awesome.
How many members on stage?
4.
See? I told you.
They have a 5th guitarist. Or 3rd guitarist.
Lies.
Not a second guitarist, but a 5th guitarist.
He might have been hiding at the back somewhere.
Yeah. Oops, all guitars.
Sounds
like my bad.
All right. She likes the Godsmack, and I like Agent Orange, which is a surf punk band that has been going strong for over 40 years. The original Agent Orange is a chemical used during the Vietnam War as a part of Operation Ranch Hand. What type of chemical is Agent Orange?
As in, what is it used for?
Yes.
Like properly?
Reluctant.
What's its purpose?
Reluctant.
War
it's DDT. It's
a pesticide.
Pesticide. Yeah.
Okay. Locked in.
We actually think it was meant to kill the plants.
So herbicide.
Herbicide.
Yes, it is a herbicide. Defoliant is also an acceptable answer.
So they're trying to clear the jungle to make way for the troops.
Mm.
But then they accidentally got it all over the troops. And bad stuff. All right, dry pork. Lost a little bit of ground there. They're at 140. Wet beef reclaiming the lead, 145.
Yeah, I think the friction was slowing them down.
Stop. All right. We get it, Jeff. And what we also get is the need to join Patreon, hopefully, right?
I hope so, yeah. We said that DJ and Nathan are on Patreon. And DJ, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because you talk about Patreon and everything on the Discord, and we love having you over there. But how have you been enjoying our Patreon audio bonuses? Because I know you listen to a lot of podcasting with your job.
Oh, I love it. It's and now that you've added the extra 2 a month, it's even better. Like I thought it was a great value before that, and now it's even better. I think, $5 is the least somebody could spend for that. It's a great value.
Well, we appreciate it.
We should get him on every episode.
We should.
That was a great pitch.
And just like DJ said, actually, the reason we love it over here is we get a chance to actually write questions in our own styles. We've got some letters talking about how they like. Jeff did a woodworking episode that was his own style, and we made fun of it, but we had fun with it. And we can all have our own personality within the game. So it's nice because we don't get a chance to write too many games because we love having guest hosts on to introduce the world to them. So
what I'm hearing is DJ said that we're actually creating too much value for that amount of money. And are we going to stop? Absolutely not. We're going to keep working hard for you guys. So.
That's right.
Yeah, and once we get this video up and running, maybe we'll have a visual representation of wet beef. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, please join us at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast today. And I do want to say we are on our road to 600. We thought it was going to take the entire year. I think we're about 40 off. So if you can join and help us get to 600 before the end of the year, we would pass our goal. So
yeah, what a fabulous surge.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you, everyone, and join us at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
And before we get back to the game really quick, I just want to try one thing. DJ, what do you love about the slap chop? No comment. Okay.
I'm more of a sham wow guy.
Okay, all right. You were just so good at pitching Patreon that I wanted to test you a little bit. But yeah, we thank you guys for being Patreon supporters, and hopefully we'll have more people join us soon. And now for the final round categories. Nathan, what do you have for us?
All right, so the categories for the final round are all record labels. We have Doghouse, Drive-Thru, Fat Wreck, Fueled by Ramen, and Epitaph.
All right, the wagers are now locked in. Let's go ahead and get our questions.
All right, so in doghouse, it's a question about a doghouse. Doghouse can be scrap wood nailed together, molded plastic, fine carpentry, or almost any other way to make a little shelter for a dog. It could even be a 4 square foot cedar and mahogany domicile for Eddie, the Black Labrador, which is the smallest structure designed by this American architect. For drive-through, the drive-through started as the drive-in, pioneered by Kirby's Pig Stand of Dallas, Texas. Red's Giant Hamburg in Missouri is believed to be the first drive-through restaurant, although originally they only used a window. The modern drive-through was invented in 1948 when a husband and wife team opened a burger restaurant featuring a drive-through with a two-way speaker system that was used to place orders. This company was a small regional chain for most of their history due to their refusal to franchise, although they have expanded some in recent years. What is this company that did so much to change the global restaurant landscape? For Fat Wreck, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot tells the story of the sinking of the eponymous ship in Lake Superior in 1975. One of Lightfoot's inspirations for the song was the piece titled The Cruelest Month that appeared in Newsweek, writing about the disaster. We all know that the cruelest month is April, so the question is, who wrote the poem The Wasteland that begins with that statement? Fueled by ramen. I'm sure many people have been broke enough at one point to eat a lot of instant ramen out of necessity. I definitely have been. You can make a pretty good meal out of it with a little bit of hot sauce and some chicken. Though ramen traces its way back to ancient China, the instant noodle was invented in 1958 in Japan by this man, who shares his name with this ugly delicious restaurant group. Epitaph. All things must come to an end, like REM, the hope that the Cowboys will have a good season, and this game. Epitaphs that accompany an ending are usually thought of in literary medium, although there are many examples of musical epitaphs. David Bowie's Black Star is a personal epitaph, and Beethoven's Third Symphony is partially an epitaph for the ideals of the French Revolution, and a lament of Napoleon's betrayal of democracy. Staying in the world of classical music, what is the term for the type of musical composition to be performed in memoriam and gets its name from the mass that they were originally composed for?
All right, we have our questions. We'll be back after these messages, unless you're on Patreon. And we are back with our answers. Let's go ahead and get the premise of the question one more time, and we'll see who will be today's cream of the crop.
All right, so the first one is doghouse. A doghouse can be scrap wood nailed together, molded plastic, fine carpentry, or any other way to make a shelter for your dog. Could even be a 4 square foot cedar and mahogany domicile for Eddie the Black Labrador. This is the smallest structure designed by which architect?
Oh boy, in the long list of architects that we know the names of, we came up with Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, that's exactly what we said. We almost went I am pay for a second, but I think Mr. Wright got it.
We wagered 30.
And we wagered 25 on that one because, as you know, I hate dog questions.
30
because I can't get them.
The answer is Frank Lloyd Wright. It's a funny story that he was designing this kid's parents' house, and the kid wrote a letter to Frank Lloyd Wright asking for a doghouse. And Frank Lloyd Wright said, "No, I'm busy. Ask me next year." And he asked him next year, and he sent him a doghouse.
Nice.
Just, mail your heroes. Maybe you'll get what you want.
Did the doghouse have a falling waterfall in it?
No, but it did. If you look at a picture of the doghouse, it's very much of his early prairie aesthetic. It has the straight lines, slightly overhanging roof. Looks very Frank Lloyd Wright. It's a very beautiful doghouse. All right, so the next one is drive-through. The drive-through started as the drive-in, pioneered by Kirby's Pig Stand of Dallas, Texas. Red's Giant Hamburg is believed to be the first drive-through restaurant, although originally it only used a drive-up window. The modern drive-in was invented in 1948 when a husband and wife team opened a burger restaurant featuring a drive-through with a two-way speaker system to place orders. What is this company that did so much to change the global restaurant landscape?
Ken and I debated this one quite a bit.
I didn't debate. I was like, I don't know. You debated with yourself for a long time.
Well,
30 points, though, on the line.
Yeah. I don't know which side I came down on. I don't know if I'm a master of debate, but we said In-N-Out.
We wagered 30, and we figured you used to drive in. Now they want you to go out, so we said in and out.
And you wagered on the right side. It is In-N-Out Burger.
Good job, Jeff.
All right. So the next one is Fat Wreck. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot tells the story of the sinking of the eponymous ship on Lake Superior in 1975. One of Lightfoot's inspirations for the song was the piece titled The Cruelest Month that appeared in Newsweek about the wreck. We all know that the cruelest month is April, so who wrote the poem The Wasteland that begins with that statement?
For another 30 points, we said T.S. Eliot.
We only wagered 20, and also learning this from The Simpsons, we said T.S. Eliot.
You know, The Simpsons is a great source of knowledge for all kinds of highbrow stuff, like poetry. All right, fueled by ramen. I'm sure many people have been broken enough at one point to eat a lot of instant ramen out of necessity. I have been, but you can make a pretty good meal out of it, adding some hot sauce, throwing some chicken, whatever you can do to spice it up a bit. Ramen traces its way back to ancient China, but the instant noodle was invented only in 1958 in Japan by this man, who shares his name with this ugly, delicious restaurant group.
So the ugly, delicious guy is David Chang, and I know his restaurants are called Momofuku, I believe. So we said Momofuku.
I couldn't come up with that. I had it in my head, and the only thing I could come up with was Fumiyoko. So I got it all mixed up. That's an anagram.
So we'll be losing 20 points on this one.
And hopefully we'll be gaining 30.
Yes, it is Momofuku. His full name was Momofuku Ando, but I would just accept Momofuku. And it was killing me listening to Matt and DJ get so close and be talking exactly about the right thing and just having to keep a poker face and not give it away. All right, so the last one we got here is Epitaph. All things must come to an end. Like REM, I hope that the Cowboys will have a good season, which is every year. I'm sorry to all the Lions fans out there, too. My heart is with you. And anyway, epitaphs that accompany an ending are usually thought of in literary terms, although there are many examples of musical epitaphs. So, in the world of classical music, what is the term for the type of musical composition that is to be performed in memoriam, and it gets its name from the type of mass that they were originally composed for?
We said for 30 points, Requiem.
Oh, man. That's right. We wagered 20 and had no idea. And if I had heard the word Requiem, I would have said, that's it. But we said Black Mass because we didn't know.
Yes, it is a Requiem.
All right, well, the scores for the game have been tabulated. Dry Pork picking up 40 points in the final, and they ended with 180, but sopping up all those extra points, doubling their score. Wet Beef with 290. We are today's cream of the crop.
Queen of the crop.
Yep, and Dry Pork, you can beat it.
Please. Please, Jeff.
Gingerly.
Neil's got nothing to say now.
I have a lot to say,
For
but
once, Neil's got nothing to say.
That was the thickest silence I've ever heard.
I'm going to leave it in, too. Don't.
For the folks at home, Jeff is a maniac. It says this stuff all the time.
Well, this game just proves if it's wet, it goes down easier. So hopefully everyone enjoyed listening to this game. We couldn't have done it without our special guests. Let's start with the man who inspired the game and all the other jokes here and there. Nathan, any shout outs before we let you go today?
Just go support your local bands. Go out, listen to some music. If you ever thought you really needed some ska punk country, there's this band called the Vandaliers. They're a lot of fun. Their trumpet player lives a block over from me, and he dances around on stage playing his trumpet shirtless with pink hair.
All right.
It's awesome.
That's all you need.
Go see him if they come through your town.
That's the real American dream.
Maybe he'll be in a new version of the Lost Boys and take over for the saxophone man.
We can only hope.
Well, thank you, Nathan, for the game, as always. And DJ, I know it was your first time here. We hope you had a good time. We enjoyed playing with you and hanging out with you. Any shout-outs before we let you go?
I'll just shout out my kids and my wife, especially my daughter who let me use her setup here to record. And I agree. Go support your local bands. It's always a favorite thing for me to do. Ska punk country is right in my wheelhouse too, so I'm gonna check those guys out.
Well, thank you so much to both of you. And any other jokes here, Jeff, before we let the listeners off so they can, I don't know, go like walk, take a shower or something?
No, not at all. No jokes. Ken has one last thank you, though, as always.
Yeah, no joke is Airwave Media.
That's
you can
right.
find them at airwavemedia.com. Check out other great podcasts on the network, such as The Conspirators, Pulse of the Planet, and When Things Go Wrong. Ooh.
Amazing. Well, yeah, thank you to them, and thank you to everyone listening. For Matt, DJ, Nathan, Jeff, Ken, my name is Neil, and that was another episode of Triviality. Wet Beef.